I'm Milton from TeamFFLEX. You're on my show I do every single Wednesday for you right here on TeamFFLEX TV called First Callouts, where we talk about everything competition related. And guess what? Teaching you competitors out there stuff you would want to know that's going to help you get into that iconic first call out. Today we're going to talk about a pretty, honestly a controversial topic in the sport of bodybuilding. Politics. Are there politics in the sport of bodybuilding? This is a question that I get all the time. We've all seen the people on the internet, that talk after their competition didn't go well, and they say it was political, the judges did X, Y, and Z, and all this. Well, guess what? Today, I want to clear the air for you and really tell you the truth about politics in the sport of bodybuilding, and it's probably something that you're not really ready to hear. All right, let's dive in. First things first, you got to understand these rumors and these things that come out have been around since the dawn of time, right? They really have been since the start of the sport of bodybuilding, saying, judges are influenced this way. There's politics for people that sponsor events, and there's different promoters that are political and all this and that. These things have been going on since the dawn of the sport itself, and now that we have social media and everything else, it almost seems like this kind of negative talk is even worse. And really what happens is we've all seen it online. There'll be a competitor that does a competition and they don't do well, and then they want to say, okay, well, it was rigged, it was against me, that person, that coach did this, blah, 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 the judges, they were paid off. You hear all kinds of things, and it's so ridiculous to even say these things, to the camera here, but the point is, this is the truth. This is what we see now, and honestly, I want to tell you guys the truth. In the sport of bodybuilding, there are no politics, okay? And I know that's a hard pill to swallow for a lot of you out there, but the thing you got to understand is the NPC and the IFB are the most prestigious in the league, period. Like, they are the A game in bodybuilding. They've always been since the dawn of the sport, and that is because of the fact that they put the best people in positions where they are the chairmen, they are the judges, they are the head judges. These people got to go through these things to get to this point, okay? They're well-trained, highly trained people at the table, judging events, promoting these shows, putting these things on, people that are in this for the sport of bodybuilding. They're not in it for the politics, okay? And I know the truth could be for some of these other organizations that are out there in the world of bodybuilding, yeah, there probably is some things that go on, but in the NPC and the IFBB, there is absolutely no politics, and I can tell you guys this for 100% certain with my own personal experience as a coach, okay? As you guys know, TeamFFLEX, we're a worldwide team. We've done a lot of events with a lot of different promoters, a lot of shows, thousands and thousands of athletes we have put on stage. And I'll tell you guys what, we got all sorts of different placings, all right? We got people that have won the overall. We got people that won first place, second, third, fourth. We got people that have got last at shows before. This has happened in my career. And I'll tell you guys what, this never has changed based on the show that we were doing, the people we went to, the promoters that were there, or if I sponsored the show or not, right? It'd be very easy to say, and I've even seen some of this negative talk on social media that, okay, TeamFFLEX sponsors shows, they come there with their booth, they put a lot of money to help the event run and all those things. Of course, if their athletes come, they're going to do well. Well, at the end of the day, that's a fact that is not true, because there's been shows that I've sponsored and I've been a part of where my athletes did not do well, ladies and gents, and that has nothing to do with politics, right? That has everything to do with the quality of the competitor on stage. And so really what I want to say is you got to understand that when we're talking about the sport of bodybuilding, politics really don't have a fit. And I'm going to tell you a bit more about this and why in just a second. 1, 2, 3! First thing I really want you guys to all understand, okay, anybody watching this, is again, the NPC, IFBB, most prestigious organization in the sport of bodybuilding since the dawn of the sport of bodybuilding. These guys are not going to ever get into a political game where they're going to be playing different, cards with different people and things like that, because they take this sport so seriously and the effort that they put into it for all you competitors, all of us coaches, and everybody else out there, that they would never jeopardize that, trying to be political and do different things like that. That's just something that does not happen, and it won't ever happen in the NPC and the IFBB. Like I said, my own personal experience, I've been to many shows, okay, where I've been a sponsor, I've been, bringing athletes to shows I sponsor and do things like that, and my competitors do not always win. They never do unless they deserve it, and that's what you really got to understand. If the competitor's the best on stage and you also happen to be, involved in the sponsoring of the show or something like that, and they win, it's not because there's politics. And if you're the person on stage that, you show up and you also might have a coach that's the sponsor of the show and they don't win, it's not because there's politics. The amount of things that go on and the talk that's said, it's also negative, and it's also really untrue. There's just absolutely zero merit to the fact that there's politics in the sport dictating how people are placing. Let me tell you guys the truth about the sport of bodybuilding and how the judges actually work. The judges at the table are sitting there looking at the physiques on stage. They judge you based on the physiques on stage. They don't know really who you are most of the time. They have no idea where you came from, how many shows you've done, who your coach is, anything like that. It doesn't happen. I've talked to even the judges after the show to get feedback from my clients that have competed, and they'll be like, oh, don't you want to ask about her? Wasn't she one of your clients? And I'll be like, no. And they're like, oh, I had no idea. Because they thought that they had seen her on stage with me or something like that, but the point is, wasn't even true. These judges have no idea, no time to check. They're not looking at social media. They're not being like, oh, who's their coach? What team are they? They're not doing that. The judges in the sport of bodybuilding are there to judge, and that is what they are meant to do, and they take it so seriously, you guys. If you've ever had time to stay after a show and get your feedback, really strongly encourage it. As you guys know, I talk about this on this channel all the time. Always stay, always get your feedback, always connect with the judges, because it's going to make you better. They're going to be able to give you the tips and the things you need to know, where you need to improve, maybe what needs to change to do better and go forward. And even if you won the show, you should still do that. When you talk to these judges in the NPC and the IFBB, ladies and gentlemen, you will understand that there is zero chance that they are doing anything but their job to their fullest potential and their fullest ability, to be totally honest with what they're doing, because actually they are so involved in the sport and they love it so much they would never jeopardize it. There'd be no political gain for them. There's nothing they would do. They're judging the athletes on stage, and that's what it's all about, okay? And so they will tell you, if you start talking to them, they'll give you all their feedback, they'll tell you all this. You can feel the passion when you talk to the judges in the NPC and the IFBB and the promoters for that factor. There's no way, you guys, that people go through all it takes to run a bodybuilding show, all it takes to get judges there, all it takes to do all this, just to throw it away, trying to play favorites and do things like that. It just simply doesn't happen. I'll tell you what does happen. The judges get you on stage, they compare you to your class. The people that are the best will win the class, and they'll place in the top 5, the first call out for the sake of the show name and all that. But they're never, ever going to do that based on any political things, any favorites, any coaches, any teams, any sponsors, anything. They're doing that based on what's on stage. And the problem here becomes that I know a lot of competitors think that what I'm saying, is not actually how it is. But in reality, I'm going to tell you in just a minute why the people that think that, why they can't seem to get this through their head. So let's revisit that in just 1 second. Hey guys, make sure if you haven't yet, please subscribe. I got great videos we run all week. This is one of 5 I do every single week for you. New content, stuff you want to know. It's all helpful. It's all good for you. So subscribe. And if you get anything out of it, please share the video, okay? I really want to dive in here to the truth now, you guys. We talked a little bit about, these nasty rumors and these things people say. We've all seen it on social media. People have all heard it. They've all seen it. Politics in the sport of bodybuilding, blah, blah, blah. It's not there. And that's the truth. And I want to tell you the actual truth about why this has constantly come up, and it's always come up since the dawn of the sport of bodybuilding. Unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, in any sport, anything you compete in, there will always be what is called the sore loser, okay? The people that in their mind, there's no way you could have ever told them how they could be better. There's no way you could have ever told them that they didn't place, that they didn't win that class. There's no way you couldn't have told them anything, because they, in their mind, think they're the only thing that exists in the world, right? They think that they're, of course, the best because they did their prep, they ate their meals, they did their cardio, they lifted the weights, they're gonna win, they have to win, they're the best there is, right? Some people are literally this much in their own ego that that's what they believe, and it becomes very prevalent in any sport, but especially in bodybuilding. Because unlike every other sport in the world, you don't really know who you're competing against until you're actually on stage in that day, right? And so that's kind of something that is very unique to this sport. If you were in a team playing sport, for example, you would know, okay, we're gonna face this team on this day at this time. When you compete in the sport of bodybuilding, unless you're at the very top ranking tier and you know who's qualified and going to Olympia, well, then you're basically competing against whoever else is there. And whoever else decides to show up, and sometimes you wouldn't have any idea who that's going to be. So really what you end up competing most with is yourself. However, if you are in the sport and you are one of these people that have this big ego, this idea that you're the best, there's nothing you can prove on, there's no way that you could ever not win, well, you're going to be very humble. You're going to eat some humble pie in this sport, because even week to week, people's placings can change. And a lot has to do with how you look, a lot has to do with how you show up, a lot has to do with who else showed up, zero of it has to do with politics. Okay? The truth is, the sore loser will always find something to blame besides themselves. And that happens all the time at every level in the sport of bodybuilding, okay? And these types of athletes simply do not understand what this sport is really about, because the sport of bodybuilding has zero to do with politics. It has everything to do with you becoming your best self. Physically and mentally, you're going to develop your body and your mind so much if you actually compete in the sport of bodybuilding. And let me remind you, when I say bodybuilding, I'm talking about any of these divisions. You could be a bikini competitor and you're a bodybuilder to me because you're training and you're working on your body, okay? Point is, no matter what, if you embark on the journey to be a competitor, you are competing against yourself every day, which leads to the greatest personal and physical and mental and all kinds of other developments that you could imagine. However, if you are one of these people that get in your head and you have this ego and you have this idea that, it's not about that, it's only about the trophies, it's only about the placing, it's only about the show to show. No, it's not. It's about the lifestyle. And that's what the sport of bodybuilding is. That's why I got involved. That's why I sponsor so many shows, because I want to see them happen. I want to see athletes achieve their goals and their dreams. And you guys, we're not talking about politics. We're talking about the fact that the sport of bodybuilding is the greatest sport you could ever do, because it's a lifelong sport that makes you better. Okay? And that's why we do everything we've ever done on TeamFFLEX. That's why I continue to sponsor events. That's why we continue to show up. And that's why you can never guarantee or promise or have any type of idea of how you're going to place in this sport. And politics, they just don't simply exist. All right? Let's revisit a couple more points here in just 1 second. You guys to understand this. I'm here to tell you the truth. And this is exactly the truth. The sore losers in the sport of bodybuilding are the only people talking about politics. They can't swallow the fact that they're not the best athlete on stage. They can't accept the fact that they might have things to improve. They can't accept the fact that they need to get better, they need to do more, they need to try again. And anyone who's ever competed in this sport and you've actually attained any level of success, and for everybody that's different, right? For some people, just stepping on a stage as part of their journey is success. For some, it's to win their novice class. For some, it's to win an open. For some, it's to, get an overall, go to nationals, become a pro. Everybody's got a different goal, and that's another thing you can never know, never judge. But the point is here, you guys, everybody has their own reason for doing this sport. And if you've ever become successful enough to have achieved a goal, you did your prep, you stepped on stage, you won your class, whatever, something you worked so hard for, it wasn't overnight. It didn't happen with one prep. It didn't happen with one meal that you ate that was healthy. It didn't happen from one cardio, one weight training session. Hell, it didn't probably happen for several shows, maybe even several years. If you guys look at most of the people that are in the IFBB Pro Leagues, they've been competing for years and years and years of their life. And all the people at Olympia even longer, right? And so this is what you have to understand. All of those people, they've done good at shows, they've done bad at shows, they've done middle level at shows, they've been all kinds of over places. And that's what everything is about. Because like I said, in this sport, you're competing against yourself. It's not about you going out there and, deciding that at the end of the day, oh, they shouldn't have won. That must be political. That must be no, it's not. There's no politics in the sport of bodybuilding. And I feel like a broken record saying it, but I got to keep saying it because all you are going to keep saying there is because you didn't win your damn show. Truth is, what you got to do is do more, get better. Get your damn feedback. If you didn't do well, okay, it sucks, but you took another step. You did your prep, you did your best. Be grateful for the parts of it that don't involve trophies. There's a great thing about being on prep as a competitor and achieving a show, whether you win or not. And of course, everybody in the world wants to win, ladies and gentlemen, but that's almost like a childish thought if you think you're going to win every single time. You're not the kid that's going to play t-ball and swing the bat. You won't hit the fucking ball every time. It's something you got to learn, ladies and gentlemen, and that's in every sport. That's in everything, and that goes through all phases of the sport of bodybuilding. You're going to have ups, you're going to have downs, you're going to have moments where you might want to think you're going to stop. But the point is, as long as you keep going, you keep doing more, you keep getting better, you keep coming back, that's what this sport is all about. It's all about the lifestyle. That's really what it is. It really disgusts me, honestly, when people say there's politics and they try to talk bad about the greatest sport on earth. The NPC and the IFBB, you guys, like I said, the most prestigious organization, zero room for that type of stuff. These guys put these shows on for you. They put the money into these shows for you. People like me sponsor these events for shows like you. I coach for athletes like you that want to get on stage. I do all these things to help you all achieve your goals, and that's exactly what the organization really is about too, you guys. In my opinion, that is what they do. We've seen that especially through 2020 with this whole pandemic and everything going on and finding every way possible to run shows. You guys, I've seen shows go on where there was no way anyone was making any money, but they did it for the athletes, and that's what it is about at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen. To say there's politics in that is really disgusting comment, because at the end of the day, those are just sore losers, people that couldn't figure it out, and probably people that shouldn't compete in the sport of bodybuilding. If you want to say there's politics, you should probably go look at a different sport, and if you do a different sport, I guarantee you're still going to say there's politics in that shit too when you lose, alright? So there's a little piece of humble pie for everybody out there. I hope you got something out of this today. I really do. Hope you understood something different, or I gave you a different perspective, you guys. Please subscribe to the channel and then share out the video if you did. I'm Ryan Milton. I'll be back tomorrow. We got 1 of 5 awesome shows we run all week. That's exactly why you should subscribe. All right? Thanks for watching. Coach Rye is out.